This is the Agentic Executive, and today we are going after one of the quietest sources of waste in your entire career: judgment that evaporates. You make a call under pressure, you navigate a messy trade-off, you finally debug a recurring issue, and 6 months later, when a rhyming situation appears, you rebuild the reasoning from scratch. Same pain, same questions, marginally better guess.
You can almost feel the déjà vu in your inbox. The names are different, the pattern is identical, and you think, I've definitely seen this movie, but the ending is fuzzy.
That fuzziness is expensive. The real asset in your career is not the list of projects you touched, it's the judgment you built making those calls. And most of that judgment leaks away into email archives, chats, and half-finished docs. Today's briefing is about plugging that leak with something I call the Executive Knowledge Vault. One page, one simple schema, plus a lightweight AI pipeline, so your past decisions turn into compact playbooks you can reuse.
Think of it as judgment compounding. Instead of every hard call being a one-off performance, each one becomes a stored asset that future you and your team can actually withdraw.
Here's the structure for today. One core idea. Your past judgment is your highest leverage asset, but only if you capture it. We'll hit 3 moves: capture, distill, and deploy. Then we'll finish with one concrete action you can take this week to start your own vault. Let's start by defining what this vault actually is, because if it sounds like a knowledge management religion, you will ignore it, and you should. The Executive Knowledge Vault is not a giant wiki. It's not an internal encyclopedia, and it's definitely not a dumping ground of meeting notes. It's a single one-page schema that every high-leverage decision passes through.
The system reveals the truth here. If your schema is heavy, it dies. So we keep it brutally minimal. 5 fields only: trigger, decision, outcome, lesson, playbook.
Trigger. What event or pattern forced you to pay attention? Decision. What call did you actually make? Outcome. What happened and over what time frame? Lesson. What do you believe now that you didn't believe before? And playbook. How should future you act when this pattern appears again? That's it. If a judgment doesn't fit on that schema, it's not ready yet. Clarity is leverage.
And this is where AI enters as support staff, not as a strategist. You do not outsource judgment. You use AI to harvest the raw material, decision memos, postmortems, meeting notes, and shape them into that 5-part structure.
So the vault is a combination of 2 things: the schema and an AI distillation pipeline that takes your messy artifacts and compresses them into short, trustworthy playbooks. And because it's small, you can govern it. It doesn't sprawl. Move 1, capture. How do you actually get decisions into this vault without turning your week into admin theater? You already create artifacts when you make real decisions. A short email summarizing options, a slide with trade-offs, a meeting recording, a post-mortem document. The problem is not absence of data. The problem is that it's scattered and untagged.
Patterns create power here. You want one simple rule. Every time you make a decision above a certain threshold, say over a specific dollar amount, or impacting more than one team, you create or flag a single source of truth for that decision.
Tactically, you can do this 3 ways. 1. Add a short header to major decision docs, literally labeled Decision Memo, with a consistent tag like KV for Knowledge Vault. 2. Create an inbox or folder where you forward key emails. 3.
Log big decisions as bullet points in a running decision log in Notion, Google Docs, or whatever you use.
The capture move is not about perfection. It's about getting all the high-leverage decisions into one staging area where AI can see them.
To keep this from turning into a dumping ground, you set a bar. For example, only decisions that, if wrong, would hurt cash, people, or reputation in a non-trivial way. If it doesn't meet that bar, it doesn't enter the vault.
Move 2. Distill. This is where AI earns its keep. Once a week, you or an EA run through the staging area. For each decision artifact, you drop it into your AI assistant with a very explicit prompt. The goal is not a beautiful essay. The goal is a tight one-paragraph playbook plus a few failure modes.
Here's a prompt you can steal and adapt. Speak to your AI more like an operations analyst than like a poet. You'd say something like, using the content below, extract a knowledge vault entry with exactly these sections. 1. Trigger. 1 sentence on what forced this decision. 2. Decision. 1 sentence on the choice made and the main alternative rejected. 3. Outcome. 2 to 3 sentences on what happened over time, including any measurable impact. 4. Lesson. 2 sentences that describe what we'd believe or do differently next time, including key constraints. 5. Playbook. A 3-step checklist titled When to Use This, plus 2 common failure modes and how to avoid them. Keep the entire answer under 300 words. Use plain language and preserve nuance over certainty.
Notice what that prompt does. It forces structure, it caps length, and it asks explicitly for constraints and failure modes. That's where naive AI summaries usually fall down. They oversimplify and pretend the world is clean.
You are not accepting the AI output blindly. You or the decision owner review the entry, edit for accuracy, and only then does it earn a spot in the vault. Human sign-off is required.
Precision drives agency. Without that review step, you end up with shallow folklore instead of real judgment. Keep the vault small, sharp, and human-approved.
Move 3. Deploy. A vault that no one sees is just organized guilt. The point of these playbooks is not to sit in a folder called Learnings. The point is to change behavior at the point of decision. That means you place them where future decisions actually happen.
There are 3 high-leverage surfaces. 1, your calendar. 2, your delegation packets. 3, onboarding and training materials.
On calendar, attach relevant playbooks to recurring meetings. Pricing review, attach the pricing exception vault entry. Quarterly vendor check-in, link the vendor failure playbook. Future you should not rely on memory. The playbook should be 1 click away. On delegation, when you hand off a problem, include the matching vault entry. You're not just giving tasks, you're transferring judgment scaffolding.
And on onboarding, instead of a generic list of documents, you give new leaders a short stack of playbooks that actually reflect how your organization makes decisions under pressure. That's cultural DNA, not just policy.
Let's make this real with 3 short vault examples so you can hear the difference between a messy memory and a usable asset.
Example 1. A pricing exception. Trigger. A large strategic customer asks for a deep discount that would blow up your standard margin guardrails.
Decision. You approve a one-time exception with conditions, multi-year commitment, case study rights, and a minimum expansion target. Outcome. Revenue from the logo looks good on paper, but the account underutilizes the product, support load spikes, and the expansion never materializes.
The lesson you might distill is pricing exceptions are not just margin decisions, they are behavior bets. If the customer doesn't have strong internal sponsorship and a clear path to value, a discount trades future optionality for present optics.
The playbook could sound like, when a pricing exception request comes in, Step 1. Score the account on sponsor strength and implementation readiness. Step 2. Define explicit success metrics and expansion paths before approving any discount. Step 3. Structure the deal so deeper discounts unlock only after value is demonstrated. Failure those, approving purely for the logo or discounting without a clear activation plan.
Example 2. A hiring trade-off. Trigger. You need a leader for a new function yesterday, and you have a candidate who is strong on execution, but misaligned on culture and communication style.
Decision. You hire for speed. Outcome. The function spins up quickly, but you accumulate micro-frictions across teams, and you eventually spend months unwinding interpersonal issues and rebuilding trust.
Lesson: in leadership roles that cut across multiple teams, cultural compatibility is not a nice-to-have. It is a force multiplier. Speed to hire without cohesion often just delays the cost into the future.
The playbook. When hiring cross-functional leaders, Step 1. Explicitly map which teams they'll interface with and gather early signals on collaboration style. Step 2. Include at least one working session in the interview loop that simulates real conflict or ambiguity. Step 3. Bias for candidates who raise communication risks unprompted. Failure modes, overweighting speed or brand names variance, and underweighting long-term friction costs.
Example 3. A vendor failure. Trigger. You outsource a critical piece of infrastructure to a vendor to save internal headcount. Decision. You sign a multi-year contract based on the Happy Path demo. Outcome. The vendor under-delivers on SLAs, your team builds shadow systems to compensate, and your real cost, time, risk, and distraction ends up higher than if you had built in-house.
Lesson: outsourcing critical infrastructure does not remove responsibility. It just changes the failure modes. If you don't model worst-case operational risk, you mistake a cost shift for real leverage.
Playbook. When evaluating a critical vendor, Step 1. Design a failure scenario and ask the vendor to walk through it in detail. Step 2. Quantify internal coordination and oversight effort as part of the true cost. Step 3. Keep a minimal in-house capability so you can absorb shocks. Failure modes: buying the demo story, ignoring integration overhead, or letting a vendor own knowledge that you can't quickly re-insource. Notice the pattern. Each vault entry is short, grounded in reality, and designed to be pulled into the future at the exact moment you need it.
And because the schema is consistent, you can search it, tag it by domain, pricing, hiring, vendors, and you can decide who sees what. Sensitive decisions might live in a private vault with tighter access. Not everything has to be broadcast to the whole org.
That addresses a common fear. You do not need to expose every judgment call to everyone. Use team tags, read and write scopes, and sensitivity levels. The key is that the lessons exist somewhere, not that they're universally public. Let's bring this down to a single action you can take this week. Pick one recent decision that actually mattered. Maybe a hire, a pricing change, a product kill, or a vendor choice. Step 1. Write a one-line summary of the decision and why it mattered. If you can't do that, the vault can't help you yet. Step 2. Drop the core artifact into your AI assistant and use the distillation prompt we walked through to generate a first-pass vault entry with trigger, decision, outcome, lesson, and playbook.
Step 3. Edit it yourself. Remove anything you wouldn't want widely shared. Clarify the lesson and tighten the playbook down to 3 steps and 2 failure modes. Then publish it wherever your vault lives. Could be a simple table, a Notion database, or a shared doc.
Step 4. Link that playbook to one real surface. Attach it to a calendar invite, add it to a delegation template, or include it in a new hire's onboarding checklist. If it doesn't touch behavior, it's just storage.
Do that once this week, not for every decision, for one. You're not building an encyclopedia. You're starting a vault of compounding judgment.
And as you do it, pay attention to where the friction really is. If capture feels heavy, simplify the trigger rule. If distillation feels off, refine the prompt. The system should feel like an asset, not a chore.
If this briefing helped you see your own judgment as an asset you can engineer, not just experience you accumulate, make your next move count. Follow or subscribe to the Agentic Executive so these 10-minute systems, prompts, and frameworks keep showing up automatically in your feed. That way, your judgment and your leverage continue to compound. Stay agentic.